Hi, this is Stacy and
Sarah
from MyCraftingTime. This is our very first video, so we hope you enjoy this. Today we are going to create a
fun
spider card, and we are going to use the Mini Monsters cartridge. And on page 54 is the very cute spider that we'll be using. So it's this spider. We are going to cut out his shadow in a gray color, his body in a black color, his bow and cheeks, I guess it's a her, it's not a his, her bow and cheeks in pink, eyeballs in white, and I'm supposing that's a bow. We'll be doing that in pink also. So let me load the paper and then we'll fire up the Cricut. Okay, so I've loaded up our paper and all I've done is cut out the colors that we're using in 6x6 blocks. We won't need all that paper, but for the purpose of this, it's a little easier to show you. And the first thing we're going to cut is that gray background. So we're going to make sure that our shadow button is on, and then we are going to hit our spider button. We are going to cut this out at 1.5 inches. That should be nice for our card. So let's go ahead and cut that one. And we'll move down to our black so that we can cut out his body. And again, this would be his body. So we have to take the background button off, hit the spider again. We're going to leave it at 1.5 inches and hit the cut button. Okay, so we have all our pieces cut out now. I've taken them off the mat and we're going to assemble them. But what we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of flocking and beading with this project, and we're using the Martha Stewart black flocking and the pink micro beads. So what we need to do first is actually put some glue to the back of our spiders. Now we're not going to do the gray because that's our shadow. But I will use the Xyron here to glue. Actually, we're going to glue the front of the spider because that's where we want to adhere the flocking. So I'll put him in upside down and we'll run him through the Xyron. And then I like to take a spatula or something and actually go against the back here. Let me move my little pieces out of the way. And make sure that glue is good and down. And I'll do it. Just have to be careful with the front. And the next thing I'd like to do is I like to rub my finger around the little pieces. That takes off all the extra little pieces of glue that may be on there. And you can feel those little pieces when you're doing this, because that flock is going to stick to wherever that glue is. So next we're going to flock. So let's peel off our spider. We'll lay him down in a tray and we'll take the flock and we'll put it all over the top. And all you have to do is actually just rub this in. So we'll make little finger circles. Make sure every bit of it gets glue on it, or gets flock on it. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it's nice and fuzzy. Okay. So there's our flocked spider. Next we're going to adhere glue to our bow at the top, and we're going to actually put beads on this one so it looks all nice and pretty. I just want to make sure that I have the bow on the correct way and not backwards. Yeah. So again, we want to adhere glue to the top of the bow so that we can add the beads to it. So I'm going to slide this in through, I have a smaller Xyron. It's great for these itty bitty little pieces. You just have to, and actually while I'm here, I'm going to glue the cheeks too, if you can see those. We're not going to put beads or flock on those, but I just want to make sure that I get glue on those itty bitty little pieces too. So those are now in there. And all you have to do is pull on the paper in the back, and those pieces will come through. Oh, my bow didn't go. Make sure that goes. There you go. And just like with the bigger Xyron, I like to use some sort of spatula or scraper just to make sure we get all the glue we can on there. Really all we need at this time is this bow so that we can put the glass beads on the top of it. Tiny paper. You can use your tweezers to help you. And again, we're going to use the Martha Stewart glass beads. Put some of those on there. Don't need very many. And we're just going to push those down and make sure they're good and on there. Now, with these, they do like to stick to the edges. So I don't know if you can see that. But we need to make sure we clean up all the edges. And you can put more on. I usually just put it on the end of my thumb and then push it back in. Make sure you get beads everywhere. Sometimes doing it in a little circle motion and helps squeeze those beads in there. But I think that is good. Okay, so I think we're ready now to go ahead and assemble our lady spider. So, first thing I'm going to do is, I picked up one of these ATG pink guns. They're awesome. I'll use that to get the inside of my spider. And then I'll use some Zig two-way gun. Glue, actually. Pen. This is the small chisel to get those legs. Now, I could have ran him back through the Xyron, the big Xyron again, and gotten the glue on the back of him that way. Her. I keep calling it him, but I think it's a her. And we're just going to line this up on the shadow piece as best as we can. And then we have, I'm just going to dry fit some of this. His mouth, her mouth, keep saying his, her eyes, and her pretty bow. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the bow. And you can use your tweezers get this on. And that Zig 2-way is both a permanent and a temporary adhesive. When you put it on, it goes on blue. As long as you get it glued down before it turns white, it is a permanent glue. And then for the eyes, get those glued on real good too. I think I am going to use the tweezers for that one. There's the first eye. Glue up the second eye. Put that down in a nice spot. The mouth. There we go. And remember, I had cut off those cute little cheeks too, so let's take those out of the Xyron paper. One cheek. And the second cheek. That'll dry real nice. Okay, and for the eyeballs, I want to take one of my jelly rolls, the black jelly roll, and I'm actually going to create the little black dot in there. There we go. Doesn't she just look adorable? Okay, and I like for the eyes to kind of pop out. So what I use is glossy accents. And I keep a pin in the top to keep it from getting stuck. And this is going to take a while to dry. This will probably take about 12 to 24 hours to dry. But all I do, and it goes on a little foggy, but I promise you it will dry clear and it will make those eyes pop like they were dimensional eyes. Cute, cute, cute. Okay, so next we are going to assemble the card. Let me get the papers we need together.